Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the May 16th, 2023 meeting of the City Planning Commission. And I would ask Commissioner Hastings to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I get a roll call, please?
Vice Chair Grimm,
Here.
Commissioner Hastings,
Here.
Commissioner Looney, Commissioner Savage,
Here.
Student Commissioner Herrera. Let the record show that Chair Rossler and Commissioner DeJesus are absent.
Okay, thank you. Approval of the minutes. I'd ask if the commission has any comments on the minutes from the last meeting of May 3rd. If none, I'd ask for a motion. Mr. Savage?
I'd like to move to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second? I'll second. Commissioner Looney, thank you. Okay, if we would line up our votes, please. Approved with Commissioner Hastings abstaining as she was not here at the last meeting. Mr. Russell, any changes to the agenda tonight?
Chairman, no changes to the agenda tonight.
Great, thank you. It's a time in the meeting when we take oral communications from anyone from the audience that doesn't want to or isn't going to speak on an item that is on the agenda. So if you have something other than what's on the agenda to speak, please come forward. Seeing no one, we'll move to the regular agenda. The item we have tonight on the agenda is a public hearing item. The way that works is that first staff will give a presentation on the project. The applicant is provided an opportunity to present their concerning the project. Then the commission asks questions for staff or the applicant. Then we open the public hearing to anyone that wishes to speak. Following that, the public hearing is closed, and we will ask for staff responses or other information that may have been raised by the speakers. Following commission discussion, an action will be taken. With that, we move into the staff report.
Good evening, Vice Chair Grimm, commissioners, staff, and members of the public. It is my pleasure to present to you tonight an application for a general plan amendment, zone change, tentative subdivision map, and site development plan for TTLC Vista Melrose LLC, permit number P22-0218. This is a project site consisting of 3 legal parcels for a combined acreage of 5.5 acres. The site is mostly vacant land with 1 existing single-family residence and an existing church building with associated parking lot. The project complies with the development requirements per section 18.33 in the Vista Development Code, small lot subdivisions. Purpose for small lot subdivision is to promote home ownership and single-family development and to expand owner-occupied housing opportunities in the city of Vista. This code section is applicable in the R1B and RM zones. Minimum lot size required is 3,600 square feet, or an average of the proposed lot sizes after deducting the smallest and largest lot sizes from the average calculation. Minimum lot width is 45 feet required and 20 feet for a cul-de-sac property. Sidewalks and landscape parkways are required on both sides of the street. Minimum street width required is 40 feet to allow for on-street parking on both sides of the street. Applicant is providing 42 feet. Common open space required per unit is 200 square feet, and same with private open space for each unit with a minimum of 10-foot dimensions. Straight-in access for a garage from the street requires a minimum of 20 feet from the front property line, and zoning code requires 160 cubic feet of enclosable storage per unit. Applicant is meeting or exceeding that requirement. Application is for a general plan amendment, zone change, site development plan, and small lot tentative subdivision map to develop 34 residential lots on 5.55 acres. General plan amendment is proposed from commercial office and medium-low density residential to medium-density residential. The corresponding zone change would be from office professional, OP, and residential R1 to residential R1B. Average lot size, as noted, was 4,442 square feet, and there are 2 floor plans proposed. Plan 1 will have an optional 5th bedroom and be roughly 2,300 square feet, and Plan 2 will be 5-bedroom units, roughly 2,500 square feet. Total parking provided is 171 parking spaces in the form of 2-car garages, 2-car driveways per unit, and 35 parking spaces on the street. 6,800 square feet of common open space is required. There will be 2 common open space areas, each roughly 6,400 to 6,700 square feet, and this will include a tot lot, recreation lawn, dog park, heritage garden, and seating areas. This is an aerial photo of the project site looking south on the left image. Property is surrounded by commercial and multifamily uses to the west and single-family residential uses to the east. Existing general plan for 560 South Melrose Drive and APN 166-280-6100 is currently designated as commercial office, CO. Property at 622 South Melrose Drive, currently designated medium-low density residential, MLD. Allows for low-density residential uses up to 5 units per acre in the MLD designation, and office commercial uses in the CO designation. Proposed general plan is for medium-density residential for all 3 parcels. This will allow a density of 10 units per acre, as well as single-family residential units. Uh-oh. Thank you. I think I have to go back one more. There we go. Existing zoning. Property at 560 South Melrose Drive and APN 166-280-6100 is currently zoned OP, office professional. This allows for commercial and office uses only. Property at 622 South Melrose Drive, currently zoned R1 residential, and this allows for single-family residential. There we go. Proposed zoning is R1B for all 3 parcels, and this land use as well allows for single-family residential on all 3 parcels. This is the proposed site plan with private street A shaded in red, amenity areas in green, and 34 single-family homes shaded in blue. The main and only access point to this project will be from Madagwal Drive, designated by the 2 red arrows at the top of the screen. As previously noted, minimum lot size required is 3,600 square feet, or the average of the lots minus the smallest and largest lots from the calculation. Average lot size is 4,442 square feet. The image to the right is a typical lot design for this project. The site will be landscaped with native and non-native plant materials that will require low or moderate water use. Private street A will be lined with street trees, which are Australian willow. The common open space will include evergreen trees, species of African sumac tree, and deciduous flowering trees, which is a species of desert willow. The Australian willow trees and deciduous desert willow trees will be visible along the public frontage along South Melrose Drive, complemented by the slumpstone block wall and glass panel railing behind the street landscaping along South Melrose Drive. This will enhance the streetscape for motorists along both Madrigal Drive and South Melrose Drive. The common open space required for this project is 6,800 square feet as previously noted, but the applicant is proposing 13,000 square feet of common open space exceeding that requirement. These images highlight the amenities to be installed for the enjoyment of the residents, such as a tot lot, heritage garden, open lawn, seating areas, and a dog park. There will be a 5-foot-tall slumpstone block wall between residential units, shown in red. There will be a 6-foot-tall slumpstone block wall around the southern and eastern boundary of the project site, highlighted in dark blue. There will also be a 3-foot-tall slumpstone block wall for the amenity areas, and there will be a 30-inch tall slumpstone block wall with a 5-foot-tall glass screen on top, which will border the project's western and northern boundary along the public frontages of South Melrose Drive and Madrigal Drive. These are the 4 architectural styles of homes proposed for the project site. This includes contemporary, ranch, and 2 styles of farmhouse. Units that face a public or private street or other residential unit will have enhanced elevations to improve the public view of the project site, noted by the green dashed line on this image. Homes in Plan 1 will range in size between 2,200 and 2,300 square feet. Units will have 4 bedrooms plus a loft for an optional 5th bedroom, and a total of 3 bathrooms. Each unit will have 210 cubic feet of storage within the garage space, exceeding the required 160 cubic feet. Homes in Plan 1 will range in size between 2,400 and 2,500 square feet. Units will have 5 bedrooms and a total of 3 bathrooms. Each unit will have 300 cubic feet of storage within the garage space. Minimum required is 160, which the applicant will be exceeding this requirement. The project is forecast to generate approximately 340 average daily trips, ADT. A vehicle miles traveled, VMT analysis was not required for this project as it did not meet CEQA threshold of 500 average daily trips. Project can be implemented without impacting the operations of the surrounding roadway system. Basis of approval, the proposed project and the manner to be conducted is permitted in the applicable zone and will conform to applicable federal, state, and local laws or regulations. Goal 1 of the general plan, the proposed project would provide for a new residential development consisting of lots that would be compatible with existing housing and topography in the surrounding area. Goal 2, by providing a range of lot sizes, the applicant is providing a variety of housing types and sizes for a variety of incomes and ages. The proposed project will enhance the neighborhood and provide a transition of housing types from the medium-high density uses to the west to the low-density uses to the east and the south. This project will provide a desired transition of housing within this neighborhood. The project provides adequate parking and circulation to accommodate the proposed use, and a mitigated negative declaration was prepared for the project and was available for 20-day public review between the dates April 12, 2023 to May 1st, 2023. No comment letters were received during this time. Staff's recommendation is for the Planning Commission to recommend to the City Council approval of a mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and recommend approval to the City Council of a general plan amendment, zone change, site development plan, and small lot tentative subdivision map located at 560, 622 South Melrose Drive and APN 166-280-6100. That concludes staff's presentation. Staff and the applicant can answer any questions you may have. Applicant does have a presentation as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions for staff before we open up for the applicant? If not, Can the applicant come forward, please?
Companies. Oh, thank you. You may recall we were last before this body some months back for our early design review on our Taylor Terrace project off East Vista. In addition to Taylor Terrace and this project, we also have two other projects here in the city, which we'll look forward to presenting to this body in the coming months. Tonight's project has kind of an interesting entitlement and design path. We started the project nearly 2 years ago by first reaching out to some members of the community and having some conversations with them about what they'd like to see and what was important. And of course, we consulted the general plan and the zoning ordinance of the city, and we crafted this plan. And we came before the city council for the general plan initiation. And at that time, we had about 15, 20 residents that came to that hearing, and they said, we weren't notified, we were unaware of the project, we have some concerns about the project, we'd like to be a part of the process. And so after that initiation, we met with them outside, got their contact information, and then proceeded to meet with them later and unroll the plans and discuss what type of project would work. And so we did that, and it was critical to the process because, quite frankly, we wouldn't be here today had we not taken that step. So we worked over that. We actually took those ideas back and studied them for a couple weeks. Primarily, grading was the important factor for us to see if we could make it work. And we did, and with the help of those residents, we had a public forum. And we said, this time we want to cast as wide a net as possible and meet with as many people as we could. And so we had a public forum where we got about 60 residents to show up, and we presented the plan, and we had quite a bit of question and answer. And there was a lot of dialogue amongst the residents on the project. And at the end of that, we gave them all a ballot, which is kind of a unique format. And we said, tell us, do you want to see this project, or would you rather see something else that's a by right project? And they voted, and on a vote of 45-1, they chose this project. So with that, we said, well, now we need to take it back to city council to do the initiation again, because when we left council, they heard you got problems. So we went back and initiated again, and some of those same residents were kind enough to come and relay the story to council as well. And so with that, we began our general plan initiation and went into further studies and doing our mitigated negative declaration. This is probably the longest I've sent on one slide, but I think it's important that you understand the background of how we got to where we are. Let's see, and with that, I will... So I think you know where the project is. It's at the southeast corner of Melrose and Madigual. I'll try and go through some of the redundant slides as well. This is obviously a highlight of the property, and what's important in looking at this is the odd geometrics of the property. So that's a challenge. And then the topography, which may or may not come through, but it rises up to the east. And that was the topographical challenges that we faced in doing the plan. And I'm glad to say we were able to overcome. The other thing, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about it here in a second, but I wanted to point out along our easterly boundary, you'll see where we border some of the homes that are off Las Palmas there, you can kind of see a trench right there. That trench is part of an easement in favor of the city for a sewer line that services many of those houses on Las Palmas and I believe some on Madagual too. But for a variety of reasons, the city that is the sewer agency that manages that facility has problems getting back there to service that. And so in working with Steve Nowak at the Public Works Department, we were able to provide enhanced access so that the city could get back there and service those facilities. So that is a benefit that it doesn't serve our project. Our sewer line goes out the other way, but it was important to the city and to Public Works to gain access to that in the event there was ever a failure or they had to service the line. Also, one other thing, just below there, you can kind of see some of the houses on Las Palmas. One of the other community benefits is we're redoing the water system in that location to enhance the service for the residents over there. And that is for their benefit. It was important to VID to provide that, and so we agreed to do that. Let's see. I think this has been covered, so I'm going to skip over this. What this slide, we put this slide in here to demonstrate where the property is and kind of a bigger picture of what's happening in this area. So obviously we're the red star. The green is a school and park right there, so close proximity for kids and families to make it over there. The kind of circuitous looking light yellow parcel there, that's townhomes. And that honestly is where we see some of our future residents coming from. They've outgrown the townhomes and they're ready to move into larger homes here. And so the kind of progression works, people move into apartments and then apartments go to townhomes and then townhomes move into, they call it a first-time move-up house. And then, then logically the next one is, they'd move into a larger house on Madagual or in the community like that. So, and then the blue is a lot of the county buildings, but some private offices as well. And then the yellow dots are the commercial retail where our residents and the residents in this area shop. So I won't belabor the consistency with the general plan other than to say that, again, this was our starting point, when 2 years ago is looking at the general plan. What does the general plan say? The couple things, again, just to highlight the policy statements, smart growth, putting jobs near housing, or putting housing near jobs and close proximity to schools and retail is smart growth. Underutilized properties, and promoting a range of housing types. Then under the housing element, the one that really jumped out at us is encouraging a wide range of housing types for existing residents and requiring community involvement, which again, I think that's really the hallmark of this project is the involvement we've had with the community. Having our first general plan initiation, for lack of a better term, blow up was the best thing that happened to the project. So in talking about project benefits, we did look at, and this is just to give some perspective around traffic, because traffic is obviously, it's a hot button issue wherever you go, but on Melrose in particular. And so we did do a comparison, this is in the mitigated negative declaration, of what a by right office would look like, and then as compared to our project. So, when looking at traffic, you look at the peak hours, because that's when there's traffic, the AM and the PM peak. And so this generates 27 trips in the AM and 34 in the peak, and that's, you know, a fraction of what the by right office would. And, you know, we put the high-density residential only in there as a comparison, and I don't believe it was studied as part of the MND, but we put it in there merely because so many new state laws are coming about, SB 2011, AB 6, that are talking about by right affordable housing in commercial zones. But again, we didn't study that, and that isn't something that we do as a firm. And lastly, on this side, I hit the sewer, water. So part of our offsite improvements will be improvements to Melrose, a half-width improvement on Melrose, and then a half-width improvement on Madagual as well. And design, as was mentioned earlier in staff's report, we're over our open space, we're over our private open space significantly. One of the big early issues that we encountered and was mentioned to us was parking. You know, make sure you have plenty of parking in here. And so we've done that. We've gone above that by not just having the required 2 garage and 2 guest in the driveway, but we have 35 extra spaces on the street as well. So 1 for every home. And we have the 2 HOA amenities. We feel that the architecture of the units is very smart. And well, actually, I want to get to, you saw this and the elevations. So what this doesn't show, and again, this is our plotting plan to show how our units are dispersed across the project. So there isn't a homogeneous plotting of units and elevations. So it's a different looking street scene. But one thing that our architect explained in preparing this is the dashed green lines show the enhanced elevation that is over and above what's required. So all along that perimeter of Melrose and Madagual, and then backing up to the easterly, all those are enhanced elevations as well. The green dashed lines are just what's over and above that. And we spoke about the floor plans and the colors, get a little washed out on that scale. And we're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions for either staff or for the applicant? Commissioner Savage?
Yeah, I have some light questions, hopefully, for you. We were just looking at the plan here for access to transit and for a walking path. It seems that it's a little bit longer for the homes at the end. And we were just, I was just interested to know if you would be, if you go to the site plan here, you have this public space at the northwest corner. I'd be curious to know if you guys would be interested in creating a pedestrian access out that corner of the property.
We didn't look at that. Gordon, thoughts?
Yeah, does the elevation allow for?
There is a little elevation difference. I mean, I'm pretty confident we can make that work.
Yeah, the two items that I would imagine you need to address would be maybe utilizing the sidewalk in that space to get the elevation for ADA down to that side. And then if you guys would want some sort of gate access, some method for all the residents to have a code or a key to that gate. So those might be 2 obstacles to overcome, but I figured it would be a pretty low-cost solution to increase the ability to get to public transit.
Yeah. Is it possible, I don't know how you do that, maybe, obviously, we still have to go to city council from here. If we can accommodate it, we'll do it. Obviously, if there might be something we might not know about, can we work with staff to study that? And then if we can do it, we can slip that in as a condition.
I think that staff, I think what I would do is just add this to the recommendation, and then, of course, discussions can happen. Is that the method here?
So it needs to be approved by a majority motion.
Right.
So if that's approved by the commission, that could be the direction.
Right. So yeah, I'm sure during commissioner discussion, we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then the other item is you have enhanced elevations. I'm not sure the public view of the back of lot 15, but has that been considered as one of the enhanced elevations? It doesn't look like on this plan.
So the back is, because of the way the driveway swings in, the back would be facing lot 16 there. And I don't believe that, well, I think by code, let me turn to Brian. Would lot 15 be, would the back of that be an enhanced elevation? On the side it would. Okay, so the side
Or the
facing.
the side facing outside the property.
Right,
Yeah. Yeah, that would be my only other comment, but if you guys, if that's something that we can consider, I don't know if you guys had thought about that already, or,
Doing the rear of 15 facing lot 16 or the side?
the sides.
Oh, yeah, so it's already done.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be enhanced.
Okay.
Yeah, the code says that any of the perimeter, that's what is a little confusing about this exhibit. And, you know, I probably should have changed it earlier, but I thought I could explain it. Anything along the perimeter is automatically enhanced by code.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then, yeah, that was my only questions. Thank you.
Great.
Commissioner Hastings.
I am interested in the definition of these houses as being relatively sort of low in the list of where homeowners move as they go. So do you have a sense of what the price would be on these?
So our target for these, and again, the audience that we're looking for is families that have outgrown townhomes or, you know, larger households. You know, the definition of families is a little fluid, but it's a larger household that's outgrown their current living situation, which is typically a townhome. So we don't see people jumping from apartments into homes like this. So this would be the second home that somebody owns. Their first one is a townhouse, and this would be the second home they own. And the price point is, right now we're going to be below the FHA upper limit, which for San Diego County is mid-9s, but we're targeting these to be mid-8s to low 9s.
Who can afford that as a family? I just find that,
Yeah.
I understand what the price of housing is around here, but if there are ways for developers to contribute to lowering that price, I think it would be helpful to the
Yeah.
residents.
And the other projects, at least one of the other projects that we're going to bring before you later this year are more targeted for that audience.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Looney.
Yeah, thank you. Two questions. Rafi, does the state have a minimum lot size? I know that it was mentioned here that the average lot size is 3,600 feet, but is there a minimum lot size that could go to?
I believe when the small lot subdivision ordinance was being enacted, we complied with the state requirements at that time. This is an average of the lots or 3,600 square feet. There is no, Amanda, notation that says lesser than 2 or anything like that. So it's our understanding as staff that the project complies with the state regulations for small lot subdivision.
But is there a minimum lot size? You know, I know that the average, but this isn't really on the development or for from Pasco's design, but could I realistically put a 2,000 square foot lot in there? If it was an average?
Commissioner Looney, I think there's two components of this. I think you have a minimum lot size of 3,600 square feet or an average lot size over 3,600 square feet. So you'd have to take the lowest lot size and the largest lot size, take those out, but it doesn't define anything more other than that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. The other question is for the applicant, is addressing what Commissioner Savage brought up, the enhanced exterior elevations. On lots 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, if you're traveling north or south on Melrose, we're going to be seeing the side elevations of those units. And I would like to see enhanced side elevations on those lots. When I look at your design packet, on your architectural sheets 5, 7, and 9, the left and right elevations can be somewhat void of articulation and fenestration. And I would like to see additional fenestration put on those side elevations on those lots. I think you've done a great job architecturally. You've got some nice detail. I'd like to just bump it up where the public on Melrose are going to see those side elevations.
So the only thing I'll add to that, and I'll see if the rest of the team has any comments on it, but the only thing I'll add to that is, and I'm sure you have an appreciation for this, is sometimes an excessive amount of articulation can make it look busy. You know, I think just architecturally, we want the fenestrations and pop-outs and the movement to be the star. If all sides are the star, it can get a little busy. Those are just my thoughts.
The other thing we would be looking at, Brent, would be privacy.
You need to come up to the microphone, please.
I'm Gordon Jones with the True Life Companies, and I would just say that that's correct. My first response would be yes, we'll absolutely look at these side elevations and on the homes along Melrose to see if we can provide some enhancements. But in terms of adding, larger or more windows, I would just work with our architect to be sensitive to privacy between.
Yeah, I'm not asking for additional window openings or wall openings.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a good balance of architectural fenestration on those side elevations that are visible from Melrose. No, the floor plans work. The door and window openings are fine.
Okay.
Let's just take some of the vernacular that you've shown on the front and rears and begin to apply some of that to the side elevations that are visible from Melrose.
We can do that.
Otherwise, again, the design of each of the units work well. You've got a good variety of materials, of textures. You've got some shadow lines that work really well. Just give us a little bit more detail on those few lots. That'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Little, did that conclude your presentation? Or I had two other speakers from your group. That's basically.
Yes, that's our presentation.
Okay, very good. With that, why don't we open the public hearing?
Mr. Vice Chair, if it's possible, if there's any public comment after that, we'd like to have the opportunity to respond to that, if you'll permit us.
Yeah, if it's pertinent to what was said, we can have you back for comment.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Sure. Okay, let's open the public hearing. And I do have some speakers here. And if you haven't filled out a speaker slip and you want to speak, please fill one out. The first speaker is August Slivnik. Hope I didn't butcher your name.
Good evening, Vice Chair, Commissioners. I live on 671 Mattagual Drive, and I'm one of those people that initially had an issue with this whole plan. In working with Brent and everybody else, it's really refreshing to deal with a company that actually listens and works with you. So we're still very much in favor, and and as well as the next speaker, is very much in communication with the rest of the residents on Madagual and Las Palmas to a certain extent. We still are very much behind this and would like to see this go forward.
Very good.
Thank you.
For your comments. Next speaker would be Kathy Bagwell.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Bagwell. I represent South Vista Communities. I'm a board member. And I too would like to say that we are in favor of this project. South Vista Communities held a Zoom meeting October 4th of 2021 with True Life representatives where we offered several suggestions after reviewing the first iteration of the plans that at that time included 38 homes. A few of our board's concerns, we felt the project was too dense, which also would impact sufficient parking. South Vista also felt the project needed to include a play area as well as a dog park. Overall, we were concerned about the impact as well to the residents of Madagual and Las Palmas and wanted to impress upon True Life to please revise their plans to mitigate the impact as much as possible. True Life held the community meeting on November 22nd, 2021, where they presented their revised, the second iteration of the plans. The meeting went, I felt, very well. It was well planned and presented to a good turnout of residents in the community, particularly on Madagual. South Vista Communities feels that True Life heard and implemented our suggestions, listened to the community attendees, and made changes to the proposed plan. Our board reviewed the current plans last week, including the home designs and color palette, which we find very appealing. We're not really as keen on the contemporary one, I have to just say that. But overall, we do feel and believe that this proposed residential plan will be very good for Vista. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The final speaker slip I have is for Stephanie Jackal. I'm sorry, I got another one.
Good evening, I'm Stephanie Jackal, and I'm speaking as a board member of South Vista Communities also. And I want to emphasize what a great process this has been with the team from True to Life. We did meet with them early on in 2021 via Zoom and had a good discussion. They then invited the neighborhood to a community meeting at the church on the property, so we were right there. The meeting was excellently planned. They did a very comprehensive presentation. They answered 9 zillion questions. They explained everything. They asked for comments and suggestions. At the end, they listed all of the suggestions from the community that they would be looking into or so that the community knew that they were heard. Then they took a vote of the community, and it just was overwhelmingly, everybody was in favor. I wish every proposal that comes to the Planning Commission could be done this way. It was just comfortable all the way through, and you felt that you were having a conversation with real people who understood what you were saying. So I hope it can go forward.
Thank you for your comments. Gary Lukovich?
I think they lost the slip at first, but I'm glad they found it. Hi, my name is Gary Lukovich. I live at 656 Madagual Drive. I've lived at that location for 38 years. That's a long time, but there's a lot of people on that street live there a lot longer. I don't know if you know Madagual. It's a very unique street. It's very long. It's got a fenced-off area at the end, so you can't drive through it. There's no sidewalks. There's no street lights. A lot of big trees, big lots, half-acre minimum. a lot of really nice people who are very protective of the property. If people know Mattagual, they call us the Mattagual Bunch because we've come before this commission and the city council a number of times to fight various projects that we did not like that would have affected our street. This is the first project we've gotten behind almost unanimously. To get 45 out of 46 people on our street to agree on anything is a miracle, equivalent to the second coming, okay? It just doesn't happen, so they like it. And I think most of that has to do with the fact that this company is very unique in what we've seen. They've been very willing to hear us, take our advice and suggestions, modify things when they could. I really think my point, besides being in favor of this project, and I hope it goes forward without delay, is to hopefully the city can implement this type of process to happen when they do propose changes to an area and additional housing. The way this was done was ideal. Everyone felt included. And when you get that happening, you get a lot more community support and a lot more support for the processes in government to make it possible. Thank you for your time.
And thank you for your comments. Final speaker slip I have is Sal Barvolo? Don't even try.
My name is Sal Perullo. I live at 683 Mattagual Drive. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. This project, I've looked it over, I've picked it apart. I mean, I intend to probably be buried in the front yard. I've been there for 38 years. I've taken a piece of property that needed a lot of work, and I've done it all myself. And I've actually looked at this and thought about, well, maybe a half an acre of landscaping is more than I can handle at 65, and I know it's going to be more than I can handle at 75. I've looked at one of those back lots, and the way they presented this project, this is Cinderella's slipper. It fits perfect into our neighborhood. I know that John had a problem with possibly getting to the bus stop. The bus stop is so close to the corner of Melrose and Mattagual. For people in a wheelchair or something, I believe the city has facilities to come and get them. An extra gate, it's just going to be a long-term problem, all those gates. I work in a lot of communities. I'm an electrical contractor with 40 years under my belt, built custom homes for years, done a lot of projects at HOAs. Little corners just become a problem. The city knows we have a problem with the homeless. Gate over there would be the perfect place to set up your home. As far as the cost line, when I started my business back in '85, I was paying $12 for a roll of Romex. I'm paying $125 for a roll of 14.2. It'd be great if these projects were at $400, $450 buy-in. My kids would love it. Fact of the matter is, not everybody can afford to live in Southern California. I personally would love to find a nice place on Lake Como, but that's out of my price range. So, I mean, it's just, no matter what we want to do, we cannot keep things affordable. There's not a house on Mattagual for under $1 million right now. So these are a very good buy-in for a lot of people. My neighbor's house is on the market for 1.2 right now. The last few that have all sold for 1.1 or better. And there have been houses that were 60 years old in need of a lot of work and paying 1.1. So these houses, as a middle class, couple of people working, couple of kids, this is going to be a dream come true for families, but this is not a first-time buyer home, and it wasn't designed to be. I mean, this is Southern California. We're 8 miles from the ocean. You want a house for $400,000, you're going to have to go to Victorville. So, I mean, it's just, the cost of building is just such that it doesn't exist anymore. It absolutely does not exist. And they've done a wonderful job of bringing this to us.
Go ahead and finish your thought. It shuts off automatically.
On it and be able to get our input and not try and shove something down our throats. Like Gary said, This is the way all of them should be. They should come to, come to the residents and see, what would you like to see? And the one man who voted against it wanted to see the land remain vacant. Well, that's just not possible. I'm guessing that was $8 to $10 million worth of land. Who wants to donate $8 or $10 million to an unimproved park? So none of us will. But yeah, this is a fantastic project, and I genuinely hope they could slide right on through. And I understand your concerns, and I understand your concerns, but it really is, you worked harder to get to here this morning than you did from your car, than you will from there. It's not a steep grade at all. It's not like going up Hacienda towards Valeview there. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this item? If not, I'll close the public hearing and open it up for discussion by the Planning Commission. Commissioner Savage.
Yeah, I just want to kind of go through my points of the positives, because this project coming through was really great. We've seen, some small lot developments near more rural areas, and this is absolutely the intention I think City Council had for this type of development. You guys are right by school, right by infrastructure, right by commercial spaces. This is exactly what it's for, and I really appreciate that. I noticed you guys have actual CMU walls in between the units. That's great. Most of these just have a privacy fence, and that's going to last a lot longer and be less maintenance for the residents. The playground for the young families sounds like it came out of the community discussions, but if this is young families, that's the one thing that's always missing from developments, is somewhere for the kids to play, and they have to go find a park. In this case, it wouldn't have been too far, but it's really great to be in your community. The enhanced elevations from the ones that we've seen are really great. It really offsets that blank wall look, and that's always something that we discuss. And so just excellent kudos on the way you guys approached that. And I just want to reiterate from what the community is saying, this is very cool to see. We don't usually see we were only seeing 4. We didn't see any against from the public, and that was really awesome. So really appreciate what you guys have done here. I think all the things that I usually go through and look for, they were all checked already. So major kudos to you guys. I think the 2 things I would want to put on the wish list would be that some work with between the applicant and the staff to talk about the pedestrian access. I understand that it might be a long-term issue, so that might not be a viable option, but just to see what the viability of that would be. And then back to what Don had brought up, discussion between the applicant and staff for the detail in the enhanced elevations on anywhere that they're going to be seen from Melrose. I think that would be the 2 things I would want to put onto our recommendation.
Okay, other comments from the commission? If not, I just had a couple things. First off, the applicant is asking for additional density. And I think you've done a good job in terms of what you've done with that density. That's an area, and I always try to ask, is there anything that could be better for the city, for the neighbors on that property? And I look and I just think, and one of the neighbors said it, but I think it fits like a glove. It's a great transition between a very busy street and then a very nice neighborhood up above it. I think it's a great transition, and I think it'll be a very successful project. I would just reflect, I had the same comments that Commissioner Looney and Commissioner Savage had with the elevations, although I would go a little further with mine. I don't think it's just the areas that are visible, because I think you've done a pretty good job on the areas that are visible for people going up Madrigal or on Melrose. But I do have a little concern with the starkness on the interior elevations. In other words, the ones that are facing other houses. They're, to be honest, they're pretty blank, and I would agree to some kind of a condition that you work with staff to at least try to enhance the windows or do something. And I don't want to, do something that's going to cost you a lot of money, but on the other hand, I think there's something that kind of could gingerbread those up a little bit and make the project even better. So that's what I would be looking for on a motion, a condition that would do something to that effect. With that, if there's no more comments, I guess I would ask for a motion. Mr. Savage?
Yeah, I would like to move for both the recommendation items, recommending the city council approve the mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the project, to adopt that, to recommend that to city council, and then also to recommend to city council the approval of the general plan amendment as detailed in the public staff hearing report. And then to also include a recommendation that the applicant work with staff to create a pedestrian access on the west property line, and a recommendation that applicant work with staff to add more architecture or enhanced elevations on the sides of the houses.
Commissioner Savage, that motion, does that strictly for lots 7, 8, 9, and 10 as defined by Commissioner Looney earlier in the meeting?
No,
Does not.
with particular interest for the houses that are visible from Melrose. Maybe less of enhanced elevations for the ones that face other houses.
Do I have a second before we discuss the motion?
Yes, I'll second that.
Okay, so basically, we're moving staff recommendation with 2 additional conditions. One that basically indicates that the applicant will work with staff to try to figure out some kind of pedestrian access on the western side of the property. And then the second condition, essentially, with emphasis more on the more visible properties, but also on all the properties, do some kind of enhanced elevations. That's pretty much it.
Pardon me, with respect to the pedestrian access, is the motion's intent to study that issue, or is it to implement access?
I believe it would be to study the issue because there would be concerns about maintenance and, yeah.
So
if staff found it couldn't be done, it wouldn't have to be done, I think is.
It sounds like it would be a feasibility assessment, but also take into consideration some other social issues that were raised at the hearing in terms of the neighboring individuals that might use the property.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes, please. Motion is approved unanimously. Thank you, everyone, for attending from the neighborhood and the developer. Thank you very much. Okay, other business? Is there a report from staff, Mr. Ressler?
So Chairman, Planning Commissioners, we will have a meeting on June 6th. That'll include 2 early design reviews. We will also have a meeting on June 20th, which would include 2 early design reviews, I remember, as well as an update to the city's general plan update, give you kind of a status report on where we're at on that. In regards to development updates, you are probably aware, but the new Taco Bell at 910 East Vista Way went vertical in terms of construction. So we've got some positive progress there. And the Arco AM/PM and McDonald's at 1401 East Vista Way also went vertical this past week. So both of those projects look as though they're going in the right direction. So just kind of wanted to give you an update on those. And yeah, we're here to answer any questions you have tonight.
Okay, anything from the commission? If not, we're adjourned. Okay, not too bad.
If you want to bring that over, I'll sign that for you real quick. Right here? Supposed to right here? Perfect. Yes, sir.